Hey everybody, welcome to round one of this Pokemon Online tournament that we are playing with Donphan. I chose Tails because Tails, as they say, never fails, so I'll be going first. I'm going to take a mulligan here. And starting with a Hawlucha. Pretty fine. Unfortunately, going to have to computer search for something that draws us into a Phanpy, it looks like, so not the best, but we'll see what happens. Donphan is a deck that has, well, I was going to say Donphan is a deck that has fallen out of favor recently. Was widely considered the best deck, I think, for a while, but especially during city championships and whatnot, it seems to have fallen off quite a bit. But as we see here, we are involved in a mirror match, so I guess Pokemon Online metagame does not necessarily reflect the live metagame. So we're going to go ahead and computer search for a Karina, most likely, getting rid of these cards. The Bangle won't really matter versus Donphan, and the Robo Substitute does matter, but we would rather have these other cards. Go ahead and play the Karina for Phanpy, and a Bicycle. I don't really know how the Donphan Mirror goes. Oh, I just didn't take the Bicycle. I've done this before too. I must have just misclicked. All apologies. Let's go ahead and make the best of it, and sure, might as well attach the float zone here. Ship the turn back. So the thing about my Donphan list that I think makes it better than most, but perhaps worse in the mirror, is that we're not playing any Outragers. We're just playing kind of Siglifs and Robosubs. I'm not sure what everyone else is on right now, but I imagine that if there are a lot of people, I imagine this person's deck, for instance, has Outragers, it's just going to have, a higher potential damage output than mine. So we're already not running great here. Mixing that Bicycle with the Karina is going to hurt us, as we theoretically could have biked for 4. But we'll see what happens. And in general, I just think we have a lot of dead cards. Hawlucha isn't going to really do anything. Sigilyph doesn't really do anything. So depends on how our opponent's deck is constructed, but we're certainly not favored in the dark, I don't think. There's a bunch of Robo Subs. And a passing of the turn with no energy. We draw the end, so even though we misclicked, we do get a little bit of justice. And a Robo Sub of our own. And getting off the first attack into a Robo-Sub here, I think, is actually pretty beneficial for us. We won't be getting a knockout, of course, but I think putting the first bit of energy on the board and making our opponent act first is going to be helpful. Opponent plays the Sigilyph, which I'm not sure really why he would do that, and passes with nothing. Alright, let's discard. The reason you don't want to play the Sigilyph, I think, is that if I just have a Colress, it makes it better for me. And yeah, it makes your Colresses better too if you're playing them, but I'm the one who gets to act first on it. So, and then other than that, just a card that takes up a slot on your bench. We'll Karina here, and we will take a Phanpy, and I guess, well, we have a Lysander in hand, so we actually need some amount of consistency cards. So let's take the Versus Seeker. We took it correctly that time. Attack. Both Hawlucha and Sigilyph don't actually do anything in this matchup as far as I know. But I'm going to go ahead and send up Sigilyph just because he does Sigilyph does the absolute least in that he cannot attack. At least if if opponent knocks out Hawlucha and is playing an EX, we at least have a way to combat the EX. Besides Sigilyph, which is just swallowing it out, which is not going to matter anyways because he can have Donphan. So it's close. It really doesn't matter all that much, but just one of those things to consider. I'm not going to end because our opponent is not playing anything, but we are going to retreat. And we can Lysander here. Yeah, let's go ahead and just Lysander the Fampion. Our opponent has a Floatstone on it, but well, I misclicked the Hawlucha there, but shouldn't be a big deal. Opponent does have the Floatstone on it. We could have tried to go for the other one just to put damage on it and kind of lock it forward, but I think that it's fine because I don't expect to knock. Like, we're not going to knock this one out, obviously. And if it's the one he's going to be attacking with, we're at least putting damage on it first. Retreating to Robo-Sub and passing the turn. I think let's see. Let's look at the board. So if we take Karina, we can get Donphan. We can play 1, 2, 3 cards in our hand and then draw 4 with, or we can draw 3 with the bicycle up to 4. And if we take Lysander, we can just hit. Actually, let's just take Lysander. I think our opponent's not drawing anything, so I don't really want to end. But what I do want to do is just attack him and try and put him as far behind as possible. It also saves us from having to play the pretty irrelevant Silver Bangles and second Hawlucha and whatnot to fill up our bench, just to be able to draw more cards with the bicycle. Which we will do if we have to. It's not a huge deal, but we prefer not to. Alright, our opponent draws the end, so if he can draw a single energy here, it puts him in a much better place. Robo-Sub on the bench. I'll go ahead and attach to this Fampi, Evolve, and just fire off a Juniper, discarding 2 cards that I'm pretty unlikely to need. Muscle Band, Muscle Band, Retreat. Send up the Robo-Sub just to kind of blank our opponent like he did us. Lysander. Not really terrible for us. We'd obviously rather not have our Donphan have damage on it, but putting it active isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm just gonna fire off this Chorus. I'm not too concerned. Would like to draw a Pokemon catcher. Didn't, which is a little bit unfortunate, but gonna go ahead and get our third Donphan. And then just attack into a Robo-Sub. I think we've knocked out 2 or 3 of our opponent's Robo-Subs, if that's correct. 2. Okay, so And he's knocked out two of ours as well, about to knock out the third, so our opponent is advantaged there. Lysander, this Donphan. And take the knockout, going back into a Sigilyph. Could have played the end there just to try and jungle Robo Sub, but not too concerned. This turn, I will just play an end though because I need to start getting rid of them. Um, as we're down to 4, our opponent's still at 5 prizes. This is going to take a prize here, but they're going to be much, much less valuable as time goes on. Floatstone, a Sigilyph, and N. Plays a Robo Sub, evolves to Donphan. A Bengal on the Holucha will not do too much. Gonna go ahead and Versus Seeker back, Lysander up the Donphan, retreat, and wreck. And that should put us in a pretty good spot. We're up 2 prizes now. Our opponent doesn't have any energy on board. We have 1 Donphan fully going and 2 more that are in pretty good shape. No damage on our board besides in the Sigilyph. The advantage our opponent does have now is these Robo Subs are just going to make us take time off of actually dealing damage to him. He's going to be dealing damage to things like my Sigilyph and my Holucha, which doesn't really matter, but is better because they're actually, again, Pokemon that are taking damage and prizes he's going to take. So, we have a pretty low amount of cards in our deck, so I don't want to risk decking ourselves. Let's just go ahead and spinning turn. Send up Holucha. We dealt with 1 of the Robo Subs. I dealt with 3 of the Robo Subs, 1 more to go. Peculiar that my opponent takes a Donphan and nothing else. Oh, he just concedes. Alright. So, yeah, I think we had a pretty good advantage there. I think the game would have gone on for maybe, let's see, 1, 2, three, probably four, five, six more turns. But I don't think that our opponent could have won very easily, and we got four trainer tokens out of the deal. So thank you for watching. We'll be back for round two.